Yeah, man. Life goes on. I just got a little response letter to that Willie Lynch joint. Let me read this to you. Yo, Willie Lynch, how dare you attempt to dehumanize my people? How long did it take for you to teach your ignorant friends how to make a slave? How long did it take you to devise your plan, huh? The colored man has been confused, miseducated, mistreated, misguided, distorted, and stripped momentarily. However, we have managed to adapt to the situation and still stand because we're strong. We have been deprived of many opportunities in the past, which I now begin to take captive at this very moment in order to overcome your plague. Your doctrine worked for a season and has maintained its position for its course. The end of that course is now approaching. Today in 2007, we can now read and write as a people. We have received your manual on how to make a slave, and we now begin to comprehend the matters at hand. We now have the ability to remove and destroy the shackles, the chains, and the genetic poison that has been forced upon the bloodline of the descendants of the original people. The mind shackles, the mental chains. You educated your colleagues and made slaves. Okay. Your words have now become an elevator to our supreme social, economic, and mental justice. Oh, you don't know? Your horrific disease is now in this millennium able to be cured. Your psychological AIDS virus for the mind has now become jet fuel for our consciousness that will give us the strength to propel into a different state of being. We will propel into a state of being that is superior, a state that can no longer be defiled by the Willie Lynch virus. Your people will begin to recede into second place. Our liberation is at hand. There is an old biblical saying, "Thou shalt reap what you sow." My ancestors sowed in fear and in meekness. The divine word of God states that the meek shall inherit the earth. The classical Willie Lynch program is now on the verge of coming to a close. The literature on how to make a slave is now a portal for the reawakening of the African mind. We are due the reward from the sweat and blood that our forefathers have been forced to shed in order to make this country what it is on the basis of the economic stature, not, I repeat, not including the deficit. The word of God says that if a man does not work, he does not eat. We worked. Our ancestors worked and worked and worked. Many of them died in the process. So we shall enjoy the fat of the land. Mentally, we are the prodigal sons of Mother Earth. We will kill the fatter educational calf and enjoy life as it was in the beginning. We as a people of color will eventually unite. The male must unite with the female. The light-skinned brother must unite with the dark-skinned brother. And the old black male must unite with the young black male. We must reunite our families. We must assist in the process to raise our children. And we must create a process to reestablish the men of color as men. We must reposition our women to the position of queens. We must strive to own businesses. We must strive to own property. We must stay away from incurring debts that we cannot afford to pay. I will not use this as a time to become bitter. I would just like to say that education is my best weapon against your warfare. The document concerning how to make a slave has allowed me to better comprehend why certain individuals do what they do. I forgive everyone that ever did me wrong, and I pray that they begin to transfer from miseducated delinquents into respectful, educated members of this nation we live in. I now have more purpose in my life than I have ever had before. God and His purpose for me will be fulfilled in my life. I am at this time more aware and more conscious as well. My willingness to study and to excel has increased exceedingly. I no longer feel like a depressed victim. I feel like a victor, even though the battle is not yet finished. I have the ability to change, to educate, and to be educated. I have the availability and the will to do a just duty. I now have strength to defeat your mental poison. Your acid for the mind has eaten enough holes in my communities. Privilege plus pressure equal oppression. Endurance, drive, equality, and education amongst people of color means your reign is over. When I pick up a book, not just any book, a power book such as the Bible, the pedagogy of the oppressed, the reawakening of the African mind, and the biographies of our great people of color. I get a dose of vaccination to assist me in beating your disease. I refuse to be a subject of your madness. I will continue to educate myself. I have had enough of a pink and pale America. I am renewed daily by God. I now have a chance to explore and comprehend that I may be able to enlighten someone. The citizens of this great world will no longer be neglected. For God reigns and His justice shall prevail. I will contribute to the enlightenment of my people and all people with truth. With God's sufficient grace, the people of color will be mentally liberated. We as people of color will become that which we were destined to be from the beginning. Rest, Willie Lynch, because your judgment is soon to come, and the rightful heirs are soon to inherit the earth. Who was Willie Lynch? Willie Lynch is the chaff which the wind driveth away. Peace. Check my website, www.agrady.qhealthzone.com for all your health and nutrition needs and everything else. www.agrady.qhealthzone.com. Spelled out, that's agrady.qhealthzone.com. Everything's organic. Be well and be blessed. Peace. Support the movement.